Make sure at the end that you're putting todaysmeet.com and then put the / Niswonger. Oh, and I should read back up. There we go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get started. First thing I need you to do before, and I'll tell you who I am and all that, I want you to hear a number or letter off AB. It will come in handy later. So I'll start with just AB. If you got a guess, I think.
I'm B, sorry. B, sorry.
Were you A or B? A. So B. A. B. That works out perfect. And it's going to make sense in a little while, because here's the thing. I'm telling you throughout this, when I tell you that some of it may make you uncomfortable, I'm not just talking about the content, I'm talking about even activities. Because we got to lighten it up just a little bit, right? So you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a little while. My name is Tim Smith. I teach advanced middle school. I teach 8th grade math and some algebra. So that's kind of what you're going to do throughout the whole thing. You can post to today's meet at any time. You can say anything you want as long as it's saying that it's really awesome. And I'm going to tell you, in my class, this is up all the time as well. That way, there's constant communication. Yes, my kids text each other. Use it. And you're going to see how that's part of the thing. What I'm going to show you is how this is used and used properly. And so the things they see. So this little bit when I normally start telling people about how this is going to go, about the flipped classroom, how blended learning and all that. The response is kind of something more like, and I'm going to show you right here. To start with. That's in Godzilla because my little boy is all about Godzilla right now. And it makes perfect sense because that is kind of how it starts out. But by the time this session is over, my goal is to have you more comfortable with the topic. Are you going to be an expert? No. Are you? And I don't have 100 different things I'm going to give you, 100 different websites. I don't have 100 different things that overwhelm you. I'm going to give you a few, and I do have a handout that you'll get on your way out. I have just a few, and here's the cool thing, and you'll hear me say this all the time. Most of them are free. That's it. Most of the things it won't cost you much money at all to do to flip your classroom. So, and that's always a good thing. So, to let you know, just there, flipping your class without flipping out, you don't have to flip out. Throughout this session, here's the things you're going to hear me do. I'm going to compare traditional versus flip. By no means am I going to try to be degrading to one or the other, but I will hear some, I'll say direct comments simply because this kind of gets me fired up, this kind of thing. So I'm liable, I get loud, I kind of get things. And the reason I'm going to tell you, the reason I use a microphone, I use this every day in class. I actually used some math money to buy it. But you ever have those real slow? Well, I wear this one, but when I'm in class, I go around and I turn this. And I tell them when it does this, it's like it's just pow. And even the most quiet kids. Now, at first, everybody hates it. I'm going to be honest, I hate it. But by like a week two of school, they're so used to it. They're just here. Even the quiet kids, so everybody can hear them actually talk when we have discussions, and everybody becomes comfortable because everybody has to use it. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that. And another thing I could do, for example, if I have to go out of the room, I go out. And even though I'm out here, I can say, Kathy and Ann, I can hear you out here. So then they're kind of like, they don't, in their minds, they realize that, it's still on. All right. So anyway, that's kind of to get us started, to go through. What I'm using here, this is the Promethean Active Slate. This, I got this a while back. Actually, before they got Promethean board in my room, we bought this with, I think, Matthew money the first time. And it's amazing. But, so as we go through, my goal is this. I really want to change your thinking about flip classroom. Because, like I said, when you first hear the term, it's panic. I know when we went digital this past year, teachers panicked. New teachers, older teachers, it didn't matter. There was complete panic because it was the unknown. It is a lot more simple than what people think to use the flip classroom. All right, so let's get into the comparing. Remember these pieces of technology? All right, the bag phone. If you had the bag phone, you had the most expensive piece of equipment. And even when cars, if they came with one, you paid $10,000 more to get that bag phone in the car. And you know what's crazy? And this is, people tell me, but they actually had much better signal than what you have now, just because they were so better made. But anyway, all they were is a phone. Now we carry around little computers, which I think is awesome, because I'm going to be on front of you. I am ADHD, so when I get somewhere and I'm just going to act on my phone, and I'm still listening. And my wife drives her crazy if I'm in church. I'm listening. I'm just fiddling too. All right, overhead projector. Now I do realize we still use some of those, but that's not what my main focus is. Yes, that older technology, right? The film strip. I remember when I was in first, second grade, we would fight. Who's going to turn that DVD on? All right, so. I think this, and this is what I was thinking. I was thinking, thank goodness, this is the technology that we've been having. Think about this all the way around. What if the medical field still used the same technology today that they used 20 years ago? Because in education, that's exactly what we're doing. I'm glad they've come a long way. Education has gotten stuck using the same technology that we used 20 years ago. You think even cars, car salesmen, their technology has come way up. Around us, everything's come up. My goal is bring the technology up in the classroom as well. Because you're going to hear me say throughout this presentation, mainstream. My goal is to mainstream and to go to these where the kids are. Now, before I go any further, what I want you to do, this is kind of your activating strategy here. You can, I want you to look at a B. Does not matter, just around you. And A, you're going to say to B, I will go through this presentation with an open mind. So A, say that to B. Alright, B, your job is to look back at A's and say, I will go through this presentation with an open mind. See, I know how you think because I are one, right? What new fad is this? This is going to last about a year. Here's the thing about the flipped classroom. It's not a fad. It truly is a way of teaching. The technology will change, but the individualized learning should never change. The activities we do, the strategies and that will change. But individualized learning should never change from here on out. That's the one thing that we definitely should stay constant. All right. Now that we've said we're going to go through with an open mind, and we're not going to throw things at Tim Smith as he says things. All right, here's some myths or excuses. You see a little caution sign anytime I say I think there's going to be uncomfort. So, myths or excuses. I don't understand technology. Well, here's my response to that. And I'm going to give you a response to each one. Learn it. All right. How do you do anything that you don't know how to do? You start small and you start learning. The first thing, push power on the computer. Go to www.espn.com. Learn those things. Google is a wonderful thing, and it's like golf. I'm going to tell you, I'm horrible at golf. That's why I say it. It's like golf. You will never perfect it. It will always continue. You can go back the next time and do the exact same things that you did before. Something's going to be a little different. Okay? So learn the technology. I don't have the equipment necessary. You do, and you don't even realize it. Or it's at your fingertips to be able to learn some of it. Okay? Start small with the equipment. For example, I didn't have all this to start with. I'm going to tell you, everything that I have, I didn't start with it. I started, the first things I had this just because I hadn't spent other money. But it starts with a computer and a projector. Most of the equipment that you need, kids have it in their pocket. The difference is we don't allow them to use them in our classroom. And I'm going to talk about that. This projector, I'm going to be honest with you, this was mine. I found this projector. This is not my main projector. This is my second one. I was in the library and I saw this thing here. No power cord, nothing. And I asked, is that still have a bulb? And she's like, I don't have a clue. We found the power cord and I had a cable and it worked. Didn't pay a dime for it. Didn't have to steal it exactly. So I got permission. It was in a pile to be sent on. And it works. So that's kind of how that goes. All right. Number 3, parents hate it and I'll get more calls and emails. That's true. You're going to. But here's the difference. Here's what's going to change. If you will communicate to parents up front. And here's where I'm going to tell you, I'm speaking from messing this one up. Okay? If you will communicate to them up front, this is what I'm doing, this is the technology, and constant communication, and you'll start to get those emails later saying, this is really cool. So that's kind of where that goes. YouTube and Twitter are the creation of the devil. Okay? Right? As they're mainstream things that your kids are using. Here's the thing. Facebook, if you think that kids are still using Facebook, you're wrong. They say that's old people. Instagram, Twitter, and there's like a bunch. It's going to, those things are going to change. But again, the strategy never changes, right? The look of it changes, but truly the strategy never changes. Kind of like in math problems. You know, the method doesn't change, just the look of the problem. It's the same thing. And I'm going to show you how YouTube and Twitter can be effectively used in your classroom. Number 6, parents can't be a part because they don't know how to use the technology. Let me say this. Since using technology, now parents can actually be more involved than they've ever been involved before. And once they learn that, it's an amazing transformation. Because now, whereas before, with math, now I'm coming to you from a math perspective, when I would send problems home, parents can't help their kids anymore. If you know anything about math now, in middle school, period, even elementary school for the most part, they don't understand, they can't teach. It's not that they don't want to, they can't. But under this flip model, under what we do now, that I'm going to show you, now they can actually take and be part of that lesson. And be a part of their kids' learning. More so than ever. You'll see how I do that. I don't record anything because I hate the sound of my own voice. And I was at a conference, it was a year and a half ago in Nashville. And his name was Adam, and he's actually the one that got me involved with Twitter. I mean, I'd known Twitter before, I knew what it was, but he said this, he said, if you don't like the sound of your own voice, get over it. And I did. So I'm going to say to you, just like he said, if you don't like the sound of your own voice, get over it. because it's more about the kids learning than it is about my own self, whatever. All right. So that's kind of where that goes. So myths or excuses, we're getting rid of it. So look at your partner and you're going to say, I will make A's. Actually, A's, no B's. Go first this time. B's. Look at A's and say, I will not make excuses. A's. Look at B's. I will not make excuses. All right. So here we go. See, you guys, and I have it on tape. You guys are making these commitments and you don't even know it, right? All right. Here we go. Now, I am going to make the comparison. You're going to see over the next few minutes, I'm going to compare the flip model and the traditional model, because here's the thing. If you don't buy in, it's worthless. You need to see the difference. Anytime something is presented, I want to know why. Why it's better. What makes it better. So that's why I'm going to do the comparison. Now, I do another video. Let me find it here. Here's your kid's perspective.
House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the the Great Depression, passed the the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue.
Y'all see those kids right now.
This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
Alright. So now, that's, and like I said, as you saw that go through, you start to see your kids going through that. So now to give you a couple looks here of just what's traditional style of teaching, correct? You know, the math teacher, again, doing some practice problems during class, and then you send 20 problems home. And I'm going to tell you, and I will never say this woman's name, because I hate her. Right? Well, I hated her class. To this day, I struggle with liking geometry because of a teacher. To this day. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, I loved it so much, I took it 2 years in a row. So, what she did every day, literally, you would come in, she would work 10 problems, send 20 home, come back the next day, go over and teach. And I'm sorry, I was out of my mind bored. I hated it. Didn't understand it because you just keep going. Right? Everybody class together, you're quiet, you're working together, right? Just kind of learning your thing, taking your notes, doing your deal. All right, the other one, again, this is a picture of a girl. She's at home trying to do her math homework. She ends up throwing a calculator. She has no idea how to do either one. So that's kind of just a couple pictures. Let's be honest. The traditional way, and I'm talking about lecture for 90 minutes. I'm not talking about every aspect, because I'm going to tell you there is a time and place for lecture. There is a time and place for direct instruction. So please don't take away from this that, oh, Tim Smith, he hates all tradition. No, I don't. I just think it's got to be revamped. And into this. All right, so traditional, here's the thing. Traditional is a one-size-fits-all. Again, I'm talking in that class, right? Right, we're working, I'm up here and I'm talking. Hey guys, I'm going to answer that question. It's a very good question. Talking about is a teacher, I'm not from the class, I'm still teaching. Excellent question, and I promise you I'm going to answer that one specifically. All right, one size fits all. Here's what happens. Your high learners, as I'm teaching a new topic, in 2 or 3 minutes they've got it, move on, they're bored. They're done. So there you have behavior issues. Your low learners, in 2 minutes they're completely lost. So you've lost them. They're completely bored, lost, have no clue. Again, I'm still up here talking through these problems, right? The only people that benefit are really some of your middle learners who can actually endure. The other, and half of those are actually what they're kind of like the robots. They nod their head like, no, I'm with you, really. They're thinking, Dear God, please let this class be over. All right. So that's kind of tradition. Now, I am going to switch it over. So, but before I do, well, no, I won't do that yet. We'll move on. Flipping. And I am going to show you the video first, and then I'm going to talk about the flipping.
We're here in Willow Park, Colorado at Willow Park High School. Flipped learning, I think, on a really basic level is taking what has traditionally been given in a lecture in terms of direct instruction and shifting that out of the class time and then using that recuperated time more wisely, more valuably to really meet the individual learning needs of students. The way I got started doing this is I just started recording my lessons live for my students who were missing class and posting those online for them as a resource. They get to access it when they want to. That could be at 10 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning, it could be on the bus to the soccer game. They have control of that. Students would watch those before they came to class. And the class time was work time, engaging in some higher order thinking, and so we didn't have to use our class time for direct instruction. We could shift that out of the class.
There's a site where we go to and we watch a podcast, and it has like all the units.
And during class period, we're doing labs and applying skills that we want to know.
I wish more people would do the flipped classroom. I think it definitely works for every speed of learner.
If a student is a fast learner, they can go through the material as quickly as they want. The slower learners, the students who struggle, they have control of the rate at which they learn the material. So they can pause the teacher, they can rewind the teacher, they can view it multiple times if they need to. If everyone's not doing the same thing at the same time on the same day, my class looks a little chaotic. It looks like a squaring circus of learning is what I call it. I also give them the option, if they don't want to take my test, to demonstrate their understanding in some other way. So I have students making video games, writing comic books, creating art projects. So yeah, the sky's the limit. Whatever they want to do, as long as they can prove to me that they get it, that they're learning, that they understand these things, then it's good enough for me. There's a school in Michigan that has adopted this instructional model for all of their core classes. What they're seeing there is that their failure rates have gone from like in the 40% down to single digits. So that's pretty remarkable there. One of the concerns that educators are really wrestling with these days is the fact that we are preparing our students for jobs that don't exist yet. And I really see flipped learning as a tool that teachers can leverage to help students learn to think, learn to access information when they need it, and to be able to process it in a meaningful way. So I might not be training my kids for a specific job, but I'm giving them the tools, the ability to think and the process and the problem solve that they will need for whatever they end up doing.
Right. And that's just one of the things from a teacher who's been doing it for a long time and teaching high school. As the flipped learning, and I'm going to say this, it's not always a video. Sometimes it's direct instruction, sometimes it's your PowerPoint, have them read through your PowerPoint, you send it home. It takes them 10 minutes to read through it, right? That's what I'm talking about. A lot of times, yes, in math, it's a tutorial. I do a lot of those. But it's not always a video. So as you do this, here's what flip. It's watching the lessons away from class. So they actually do the direct instruction away from class. And then when you come to class, you have so much more time to do the hands-on. And especially if you Common Core, right? Standards, they say they took away standards from really in depth. And if you know some math, there's actually more. But it allows you that time. Think about taking the direct instruction out of your class. Them still doing it, but then you actually having time to work with them in class practice, doing the tasks, doing the projects, being able to show you what they know. And I'm going to show you an example of a group, what they did when I told them at the end, it was toward the end, I said, show me, I gave each group, I said, show me what you know at this point. And I'm going to show you just one example of what they came up with. That was the only instructions I gave. Show me what you know. They did it on their own. But anyway, students are able to work at their own pace. For example, if you come into class, this group right here, they made it, like, watch it, but they're struggling, right? So I'm able to work with this group. I'm over here working, and if those of you have like an EA or something, it's just like, it's, the cherry on top, you break it up. But I'm here. This group over here may, at the same time, they may have gotten the homework and they're working together as a team. They're doing the practice problems. They're working through kind of, about mid-level, whatever. They're kind of working through back and forth. Group over here, they may be like, I got this skill. So they're doing a task, right? And another group at the same time may have gotten all of it done and they're starting on their project for that topic. All at the same time. Now, what you're going to have to do in order for this to happen, it is controlled chaos. It is not a quiet classroom. Quiet classrooms are gone. So, collaboration, this is people working together, students truly working together to teach each other. We've got to let go of some control. The standing up front, feeling that total control, we've got to let go of it. Are you still in reality? Are you still in control? Yes. I'm over here. I still have control no matter where I'm standing in this room. Right? I still have control. Now, the kids, they perceive it as some freedom. But in reality, do they have it? No. But they don't know that. That's the flip model. It is not, you will not have a quiet classroom most of the time. There is a time and place. And they know, if I tell them it's quiet, it's usually during testing, it's like, then they know, hey, I got to be quiet. And I have up barriers and everything else so they can't cheat. But another cool thing is students are able to rewatch that video as many times as they need to. So that way in class, I don't have to repeat over and over and over because they have it. And I'm telling you, yes, not every school has a laptop for every person. But I'm telling you, most of the kids, a major part, I would say the 90% of them have this little contraption right here. Before we had the laptops in my classroom, this is what we used. They used their cell phone. Now, I always text her, look, you better make sure you got free data. Mama will kill you. And me. But this right here is a tool. Kids who don't have internet at home, most of the times they have this. They can do this. This is what they can watch on the way to that game. Again, you're not making a 15-minute instructional tutorial. Right? You're able to do this in class and out of class. They can rewatch that video as many times as they need to. Alright. So, one more thing on flipping, and then we're going to do lecture, then we'll get into tools. There it is. Here's some examples of things that kids were able to do because we've actually gotten away from the direct instruction class. I want to tell you what this right here has. Every table has a whiteboard. I don't have desks. I got rid of desks and went and dug up tables. And I found some old whiteboard that's just go to Lowe's and it's like $11. It's a huge sheet. But I put it around it. That way they write on it. This is the daily work that we did. And what I did is I just take my camera or my iPad or my phone, take a picture, and I have Apple TV in my room, and I project it up from their table. I can do live shots, and it's one thing sometimes I get a little ornery, and I'll make live shots, and they love it. They have a ball. We're able to do that because we have time now. Then here is another task. This is hands-on. It's on a computer, but that's what that kid, they chose to do it that way. They had total freedom to do it whatever way. Here, we use shoes to do measurements for the Pythagorean theorem. We had time to do this stuff because we got rid of all the direct instruction from class and actually was able to apply it to real life. Now, before I go on, what you're going to do with your partner, remember A, B, right? I want you to think, what are 3 things either that I've said that maybe you didn't know before, that you did know, you're like, I remember now, that come back to mind, or something that I said that you're like, I can't believe you said that. Right? But I want you to think, and in a second, A, you're going to share with B, we'll say 2 things for time's sake. 2 things that either you've learned, that just something that you didn't know before, that maybe you know now about flipped versus traditional. That kind of thing. So think for a few seconds, and then we're going to share. Okay? A, share with B your 2 things. Well, see, what I did is I directed. All right, B, share yours real quick. All right, here we go. Now we got down 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Now that we've talked about the differences, we've compared, contrasted, and that kind of thing. Now, if I'm going to do this model, as I think you're crazy already, you got all this stuff, and it's going to cost me a mint that I don't have, because school, we don't get enough budget anyway. Amen? Right? We don't get, don't have a lot of money off the test, and I can't spend my own money. I'm going to tell you before I get started, the next thing is the screencasting. This is probably, honestly, was my most expensive purchase at Walmart for like $30 at the time for wireless. I'm going to tell you, if you can get wireless, because since then I've gotten, now I've been doing, I got a pair for school, home, and that way I've always got a pair. But get wireless, they're like 40, 45. But this right here is the thing that you need to invest in. Again, Logitech with Walmart. Look, that's for the next part of your screencasting. Using, and here's where I get into the YouTube. Okay. Now, and before I go, I do want to say this. With the flip model, I actually had a parent actually ask me the same question. But at the time, they were not very happy that teachers weren't up in front of the room anymore. And they asked the question, and I asked them the question back. I said, okay, if I'm up here and I'm just going through the step by step and all this, how to do this, and I'm up here teaching, and yeah, I'm going through step by step over and over and over, and then I'm going to give you guys an assignment. My question back was, am I teaching or am I just talking? Whereas with the other model, the flip model, where they do the direct instruction, it's on video or whatever, again, I was over here, right? Helping this group. Can I do that in a whole group setting where I'm just lecturing? I can't come to this group and help them like that. If the other group, they needed extension, right? Can I do that at the same time? No. So which way really am I doing more teaching? So now I'm going to tell you, with the flip model, there's a lot more planning. The work is done in your planning. The front part of it is art. If you actually come to class, if you were walking my class at the time, you think, dude, I'm just kind of walking around to different groups. Because really the work was done in the planning. Then I'm just going to each group, making sure, hey, okay, if you need me, I'm here. If whatever. That's the way we're doing that. So I hope I answered that question a little bit. That's how I answered them back, and they were kind of like, there was no response. Because truth is, you can't compare the two of me just up here talking through. Because I'm trying to have the knowledge, and I'm talking through it correctly. But am I really teaching it? All right. Screencasting, YouTube. My students receive their instruction through YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, which I'm going to give you the address at the end. And if you would like, you are welcome to come and subscribe and use any video that you see. I still have some on there when I very first started, and you will see the progression. It is awful. All right, it's okay. I'm telling you, it's like anything else. You learn something new, it takes time to develop it, right? Like, for example, the lessons I do this year will be completely different than what I did last year as far as the tutorials and how I do it. All right. Homework, it's a change of homework. I'm not sending those 20 or 30 problems home anymore. Because why? Because we're doing that in class where I can be there. And now they're watching us at home. Now parents, here's where it is. Parents, now they're more involved because now they can actually watch it with their child. Because now, whereas they didn't know how the world to do it to help them when I send the 20 problems home, but now, as they're doing the tutorials, they're watching it with their kids. Parental involvement, right? Why did I choose YouTube? Because it's mainstream. Again, I'm going to their world. I don't expect them to come to my world. And that's why, if YouTube is blocked, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, there is YouTube education. I don't use it, and simply because, again, I believe, mainstream. I'm going to them. They're not, I don't expect them just to come up to me and expect it. I'm going to their world. So that's what I use, actually, YouTube. Screencast-O-Matic.com. It's free. That's the program I used for a long time, and I still use it. You get 15 minutes of recording time free. Now, if you want to purchase a year, $30 a year, something, or I think $30 2 years, as much as you want, it's hours. Again, free. 15-minute increments free. So the only
So
benefit,
each 15 minutes is free.
right. So anytime you get on, you can do 15 minutes at a time. 15-minute blocks. It doesn't matter. You can do a million of them, or however of them, but you get 15 minutes. Again, it's free. My only investment is this. That's it. Let's get the microphone. Now, challenges, students being off task while you're on YouTube, they're going to test it, right? I had one who was on WWE.com, and I stood there and watched a good match with him before I took his advice. Right? Usually, and I'm going to say, you have a plan. Have a plan involved. And where we have the laptops, I always say, okay, you get your warning, you're off task. After that, take your device for 24 hours. And then you're talking about miserable because then it's just bookwork. And you don't get any advice. And you lose it for the rest of your classes. So they're really, especially if you have the first block and you lose your device, oh, miserable day. Now, what if you don't have those? What if you don't have the laptop? You can give your warning and then write it. Do it. I mean, administration will back you up on it. If you talk to them before, administration will back you up on it. Say, okay, here's my policy. I gave them a warning first. Then they abused it. Boom, they're gone. Or I take and they just do the bookwork. So that's kind of, again, you're going to have kids always test their kids. They're going to test their boundaries. That's life. School blocks that talk about that. There are other ones you can use, like school, the
Very
Okay, so there's school too. So there's other things you can use through the education. All right. So what students won't watch my lessons? Well, you got to have a plan. In other words, they come back the next day, if they haven't watched the lesson, they can't do anything else until they watch that lesson. So whether they decide, I'm going to be lazy, or and usually they don't like that because they feel that behindness. Okay? But sometimes you have a kid who, we don't know what they go through at home, right? Sometimes it's just rough. They may not have internet at home, they don't have that phone. So, we offer before and after school. Sometimes they just come in, and that's where they start. That's their starting point, is watching the video. They can't do anything else until they do that. It's a process. So that's kind of have a plan as far as them not watching it. Because some of them are going to test those boundaries, and that's the way it is. All right, today's meeting, which is what we're using right here. And I love, okay, and I think it did answer that question.
That
What
was
is it
just
called?
a quote.
Okay. So, as far as what is your policy to ensure all students have watched? Again, if I find they're making a habit of not watching just because being lazy, I will come up with other consequences.
Do you poll your students when they come in to see if they want it?
No.
Or is it just like an honor system they come up to you and say, I haven't done this?
A lot of times I give them a quiz. I embed a quiz. And I check that. Or I'll give them, when they first come in, I'll give them a short quiz. And it may not be the process of what they learn. It's things like I'll embed, for example, I'm a Hokie. All right, I'm Virginia Tech, and being in Tennessee, I'll say something. I'll make them come and say, Hokies are great. To know that they've watched it. That way I know they've watched it. I'm not checking for understanding yet. I was being really practiced it yet, right? I just want to know that you've watched. So I'll use methods like that. With the program I'm using right now, I'm actually trying to learn it. It actually embeds quizzes into it. So we'll see how that goes. But those are great questions. Great questions. The cell phone policy, again, I went to my administrator and I said, hey, can I use it? And she was yes, because I know exactly how I was using the cell phones in my class. Of course, I'm very fortunate to have an administrator who loves technology and understands. So she okayed it, and I used that up until we got the laptops. Okay. Camtasia. Yeah, and actually it was a professor who got it under a grant, and I'm trying it out. I didn't pay for it, but I think they had a free version. But I love screen testing that. It's great. But this is just some examples of how it's used in class. You know, and guys, I'm gonna tell you. Let's see. I want to say this is my tier 2 class right here. Now I do have another one that I'll show you how it's used. This is algebra, and if you go through, you know, they gave me answers through their daily work. So this is what they did. I had to go through, and JC, I got all of them. I had no problem. And then section 10 is easy. I figured out quick. Section 4 tricked me a little. So that's constant communication with my students. So I know they're telling me in words, which now we admit words, right? We got to use words right here, all the time, constant, every day. This is up in my class if to have, and it's free. Today's meet is free. So I love free. Free is good. So now, do you have any questions, more questions about today's meet or up to this point? All right. Now, real quick, A's, no B's this time. Tell A's, I'm going to continue to remain open-minded. Now, A's, tell B's, I'm going to continue to remain open-minded. All right, let's talk about Twitter. All right, Twitter's of the devil. As Twitter is actually, it can be used as an amazing tool in your classroom, going to their world, mainstream. It's an open line of communication using something that connects the students' world. They'll tweet about assignments. They'll, what I'll do is I'll send out a tweet in the evening sometime and say, hey, the first student come to me tomorrow with this answer, you get 5 bonus points on your next quiz. I'm telling you, that next morning, when I either get to school, so I'm running, you know, they're already there, they will come out of the stands. Or they'll come down the hall, and I better duck. There's a herd coming at one time. I mean, it's amazing. When you get 5 bonus points, yeah. Those coded terms I was talking about as far as, you know, knowing that they've watched it, know they've done it. Higher order questions I can tweet them out, they answer them. Summarizing questions that night before they go to bed. If they tweet, you know, answer the tweet, it's in their brain right before they go to bed. That's math. I've surrounded these students everywhere they go with education. That's part of the goal. Surround them with your education. Does it take a whole lot of extra humming to just tweet out one question in the evening? No. It took like a minute at the top. All right. If you ever connect with classrooms across the country and even around the world, parents, here's where I talk about the open communication to parents. Again, all the time. Tweet back and forth, right? Now this is what I tell parents. I say, if it's negative, keep it off of Twitter. And I'll tell them straight up on that. You negative, you come to me personally, and we'll talk about it. But if it's a legit question, now they'll ask great questions, and they'll ask hard questions, which is great. That's fine. It tells me they're wanting to know they're involved. This year, we're actually going to be hosting a Twitter chat beginning this fall. It's probably a bi-weekly thing, like one night every other week or so, where parents, anybody, educators, talking about Common Core digital conversion, etc. So that's how can you use Twitter in education? Absolutely. Now, what about if a parent says, my kid's not using Twitter? You know what I tell them? Get over it. I said, that's fine. I'm not going to fight that battle. Then I fall back and they can use today's meeting. They can use Schoology, which I'm going to show you that. It's our platform learner. I'll let them do other things. But most parents, once they understand how you're using Twitter, they'll get it out of bed. I mean, I've only had like 1 or 2 say, no, I don't think so. That'd be very blunt, but okay, no big deal.
Back to your comment about telling parents they can't do it, they just look up there. Have you ever had an issue with that, and what do you do if it is an issue?
If they do, I hand it over to administration and let them deal with it. But I've not really had any negative on Twitter. I mean, most of the ones that negative have come in face to face, which I like, because usually about the time it's over and they have understanding of what we're doing. It's fine. All right, real quick, an example from Twitter. I told you I was going to show you. Let's see. Well, oh, no wonder. Did I overdo it? I must have. All right. I want to show you all one thing my kids have done. If we have time again, I'll go back and bring it back up because I really the video they did was absolutely amazing. All right. Now let's go on to live stream. This is something I do, and I don't do this as often, but I do, if we're making presentations, I use, it's called ustream.com, free, unless you want to go in depth with it. So this one, as you live stream, and a couple different things. You may want to do it not live to start with, because kids, they're going to act up, right? But when they're doing their presentation, what better way to bring parents into it who are working, who can't come to school? I'm talking just their regular projects, right? The person's making a presentation. Live stream it, and your parents can be involved. Another opportunity for parents to be involved in what their kids are doing. They're able to watch it. I say if a student misses a class, they can participate live from their couch. Not as much as now because of some of the other ways I've started using. That one kind of still there. But through the videos, through Schoology, which I'm going to show you next, that's kind of taken precedent over that. This is a great tool to live stream. Again, free. Free is always good. All right. Now the last one I did want to show you is Schoology. This is the platform our school actually chose to use for kids. It is kind of Facebooky. That's kind of, first I didn't like that. But it really is a great thing. And guess what? It's free. Unless now your school can purchase a whole and the actual platform and do the whole thing where how much ever thousands, but they offer a free version. And that I do have. Right here. This is my page. This is from last year. So here's what the Facebook part is. But with my courses, guys, I can see, and it really doesn't matter which one I go to. I post their daily agenda. When they come in, this is what they see. Their daily work, what I call film study. I put their summarizers on there. Like 4th 9 weeks, I put all the assignments so they can see it from no matter where they're at. This is the only last movie commercial kind of thing they had. You post assignments. You have a calendar. Again, I can spend hours on each one of these things. Actually, going through. It's something to play with. Just play around. Again, they can post. They can see. It's constant communication. Parents can log in. Parents actually can get a login number and go to their kids and see what's going on. Again, mainstream, and I am constantly communicating. All right. So that's Schoology. Schoology.com. Yeah, I wish I had a lot more time, but I don't. Here's the bottom line. We have to be willing to let go of control and let the students take the lead in their own learning. That's hard. And my final thing is, this is their world. We have to be the ones to adjust. Because we're asking top-notch expectations for them. Well, we have to have that, and they'll rise. But we've got to go to them. They've got to see that we're going to meet them. All right. And then the last thing before we close, I did put my information up here. If you want to write that down, you can. Feel free, again, Twitter, follow it at Coach T.M. Smith. I love people follow because not only does it connect you to me, but it connects you to a bunch of educators across the country. And you can learn a lot. So you're free, you're welcome to go to my YouTube site and again subscribe to that. WordPress, I have a couple blogs. But then my email, feel free to email me at any given time. All right. And then, okay, and I'm going to answer your questions. This is another good one. Does that mean you're following your students? No, I don't follow them back. What I do is they follow me, but I don't follow them back. I still see what they don't know, and I still see what they tweet. Okay, I just kind of, on TweetDeck when I set it up, it's the last one on the very end that has to be there. But the main ones I'm looking for are the ones, and I have a hashtag. Most stuff I use a hashtag refuse to lose to because I want them to understand we don't lose. Coach Smith does not lose. You do not lose ever, no matter how hard it gets. That's how it's even in kickball. Every week, my class won championship, and they were starting to believe. You want to lose, do. But last thing I want you to do is, again, A-B. I was going to make you do a conga line. But what I want you to do to A to B, I want you to tell them what is something that you've learned, something maybe that you're going to do to change a strategy or try one of the strategies. You don't have to do them all at once. It's a process. Okay? And then B, do the same thing back to A. Okay? That's your final summarize. And on your way out, I do on the back, I have a stack of papers. It has all the websites on it. Just don't have my contact information. Okay? All right, go. Hey, guys, one thing I'm going to do throughout this is I'm going to create some, like I want to say, webinars with some videos on each how to do. If that's something you're interested in, check on, again, my YouTube. I will let you know. Or we email, so you know, hey, when you want to do this. I'd like to do Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Great presentation. I was going to ask you, is that okay?
Do you have two there?
You go.
That's faster than writing all in.
It doesn't bother me a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to get a grant this year to try to get iPads, a class set, so